What is professional misconduct? What's the definition of the word misconduct? Well, different professions define misconduct differently, but they're not all that different from each other. Well, some are in the form of parliamentary law and some are common law tests. Generally, misconduct is some conduct that professional brethren of good reputation and competency in their profession regard as being disgraceful or dishonourable. For lawyers, only grave impropriety in a professional capacity amounts to misconduct under the Legal Profession Act 1976. For doctors, it's infamous conduct, and what's required is serious professional misconduct. Which brings us to the story of the solicitor Roger Richards. He was a solicitor in the United Kingdom, and in 1998, one of his clients, and we'll call him John, came to see him. John was almost 80. He wanted to write a will. Naturally, Richard's questions turned to what assets old man John had. Well, John had a property worth £50,000. It was mortgaged. The loan remaining to be paid to the bank, what we call the redemption sum, was only £17,200. John wanted to charge his property for another loan for an additional £6,000. He wanted to take that loan and, would you believe it, do up his garden, he said. Then he wanted to sell the property and keep the balance. The solicitor Richards said he knew someone who could make a better offer of £10,000 in exchange for those people having some equity, some interest in the house. Obviously, John agreed. Later, Richard casually identified these new lenders as his children. What Richards did not tell John was Richards was using his own money in the name of his children. Richard then pretended to put up a new garage, erected a new fence, and carried out some repairs to the windows of that house. So, for these relatively minor works, Richards paid more money to contractors in the name of the old man John. Richards then continued to act for John even when there was a conflict of interest between him and his client. When the matter went to court, the judge thought Richards had purchased an interest in the property in the value of £32,000 for giving out a mere £10,000 to a vulnerable old man. After selling the property, John would be left with nothing. Richard had thus taken unfair advantage of an old man, and eventually Richard was found guilty of conduct unbefitting a solicitor. He was thrown out of the profession. Next, I must tell you the story of a UK doctor called Dr. Kumar. A lady, a patient, came to see Dr. Kumar. She had breast cancer issues. A clinical examination was necessary. Dr. Kumar went too far. He started pawing her. It was proven that he did it for sexual gratification. What do you think she did? She complained. Eventually, after an inquiry, Dr. Kumar was found guilty of the crime of sexual assault and found guilty afterwards of misconduct. He was also thrown out of his profession for infamous conduct. So what's infamous conduct in the medical profession? Well, we have to go back to 1892. It involved a man called Dr. Allison. Now, Dr. Allison held strong views about doctors in general and himself in particular. He took out numerous newspaper advertisements. Allison advised the public never to have anything to do with doctors or their drugs. He recommended that the public applied to him for advice, volunteering his name and address. He also rather helpfully quoted the amount of his fee. Well, in short order, he found himself in hot soup. He was hauled up before the medical council. When the case came before Lord Justice Lopez, the judge defined misconduct in the medical profession as infamous conduct. He described it as professional conduct considered disgraceful or dishonourable by his professional brethren. So, the conduct of the doctor, insofar as it involved misconduct, was to be judged by his peers. Thank you for listening. This is Ganesan from GKtv, and until I see you again in another exciting video on the law, goodbye.